Because most of the time you'd find if you're thinking of letting go of something, if it's a habit, if it's people around you, if it's a mindset, you're normally in a dilemma. And when you're in a dilemma, you are very frustrated and stressed because your mind is really thinking like, is it this or this? Should I do this or this? But once you've made a decision and you've done it, you feel some sense of relief, especially when it comes to your mind, or you feel like if it was something that's deep within you really wanted to do away with, you would feel a very big sense of relief and just peace and satisfaction that comes with it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Balance It podcast. Balance It is a platform that empowers young men and women to live a purposeful life.
We delve into conversations relating to purpose-driven living, wellness, fitness, and lifestyle in general. I'm your host, I'm Gertrude Nasike.
I'm the other host, I'm Eda Onyoni. And definitely, as you know now, it is a norm. And how we are doing it, we are giving a shout out to a proud member of Balance It community, people who just comment and engage with us on the comment section, either on our social media, on YouTube, on Spotify as well. Have you guys subscribed actually to Spotify? We need to grow that community as well. So yes, so we are giving out shout outs. So hope to see more of you there so that we can be giving more and more shout outs. And in today's episode, our shout out goes to... Yes, to a very proud member of Balance It podcast, and that is Roxanne Onyoni.
Yes.
Roxanne Onyoni said that I'm a proud member of the Balance It podcast. Being part of this podcast has transformed my life. Kindly subscribe. That is from Roxanne. Thank you so much. We really love you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. We appreciate the support. And to everyone, we also appreciate the support that you are giving us, and we actually don't take it for granted.
No.
From deep down, we really appreciate. We would want to see more and more of you supporting us.
That's very well put. Thank you so much, Roxanne. And now in today's episode, we're going to talk about the art of letting go. We are looking at letting go in very different contexts because we are living in a very uncertain world, and we have so many situations that we go through. It might be in our career life or friendships and relationships. In whichever aspect of life, there's so much uncertainty that we get exposed to. And we just want to really understand today, why is letting go important, and what happens if we do not let go, and what practices we can do to actually let go the right way, right? Yeah, so maybe you can just let us know, like, why do you think letting go is important? And just give us a context based on what you would prefer talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Letting go, the art of letting go. I think it's very important. And the fact that you've brought up the issue, the aspect of letting go is from this different context. We can decide to, or you as well as a viewer, you can decide to let go of a toxic relationship, letting go of your past failures or your past mistakes, letting go of your bad habits. So there are very many different contexts that we are talking about in terms of letting go. And I think this aspect of letting go is very important because we have here on this podcast, we have talked before about the different seasons and the fact that the different seasons require a different us, and that we need to know the time that we need to let go and move to the next season. So just as a number one thing is, as an importance of why we need to let go, is just to open up opportunities for different things that are to come into our lives. Because when when we are letting go, it's like we are closing a door.
Yes.
And if we are closing a door, we are opening a new door for other opportunities. And even with God, when God wants to bless you, if you have so many things on your hands and you don't know what exactly you need to use, the moment that you let go, or the moment if you have so many things like this on your hands, and if you put things down, your hands will be open to just be open to receive more things. So I think it's just that notion of we need to let go of things or habits or whatever in our lives so that we can be willing and be ready for the next seasons of our lives.
I would totally concur with you. And just to add on it, is that you really get to experience your optimal point, let's say, because it now allows you to, when you're letting go of these things, whichever context it is, it allows you to really empty out, like free up spaces that were fully booked, as you've given the analogy of the hands having full of things, spaces that were fully booked, and allowing now proper things to come into your heart and proper things to just fill up those spaces. And then another thing also, it allows you to really identify the areas of improvement in your life. And when you're identifying these areas of improvement, it means that you're going to avoid stagnation in life. We've had an episode of stagnation, one of our first most episodes. We were talking about stagnations in life, like how it has been for us, right? And so I understood, when you're letting go of issues in whichever context, you are in a position to really open up and avoid stagnation in life, because you now understand the art of seasons, the art of people being in your life for just a certain point, and just allowing yourself to be open to moving forward to greater things in life. And that means progress and not stagnation. Yes.
For sure. And what do you think about this? If somebody now decides, instead of letting go, they are going to hold on for so long. And I would also like to know, do you think there is a time factor when it comes to letting go?
First of all, to your first question, I would say, if you stay with something, it means that you're building room for stagnation. Actually, you're building room for stagnation. You're limiting your self-improvement opportunities. And this is because you will be carving your mind to accepting a situation that no longer serves you. And if it's no longer serving you, definitely it's not going to give you results that you need to go to the next level, right? And then when it also comes, I would like to use this analogy. When you have a wound, and then you keep covering that wound, it keeps getting bad, let's well, or it keeps rotting. Rotting is gross. That's why I didn't want to use it. But it just keeps getting, the wound keeps getting bad and bad and bad. And this is because you keep covering it and you're not opening it for it to be aired down and letting go of, like, releasing maybe the bacteria, or just allowing it to heal using the natural environment, letting go of the covering. If you're doing that, it means with time it's going to rot to a point that it cannot be, like, if it's a leg, it cannot be saved. And it keeps killing that leg within, like, slowly by slowly, it keeps killing it. That's the same analogy I would use when it comes to letting go of stuff. If it is your past mistakes, if it's let's say people, you can use that analogy of a wound. If something is already rotten, maybe it's in your heart or something, or a mindset that you actually need to let go in order to go to the next level, if you keep putting it within, it keeps killing you slowly. And by this, it doesn't mean that you're literally going to die, like it's a physical death, but it might be killing your self-confidence, it might be killing your self-esteem, it might be killing your boundaries or your ability to say no to stuff. like, it might be killing your focus and judgment, because you're focusing so much energy on the negatives, instead of just leaving them to find a different home,
True.
So it keeps killing you slowly by slowly in different aspects of your life, even spiritually, and then you realize that with time you've been you've been brought back to this point or this person that you cannot recognize anymore, because you're like, where maybe is the self-confidence, where is the ability or the vibe I had to go after my goals, or that push I had to go after my goals, or why am I not focused, why do I lack clarity? But it's because of the things that you've refused to let go. It can be you've refused to let go of your mindset to be open to growth. You will not be in a position to see clearly areas that you need to improve in order to go to the next step in your growth journey. So basically, that's how I would put it. Like, that's how it can affect you not letting go. And then to your second question, I don't think there's a specific time for letting go, because I believe people have different time frames, or let's say healing time frames in every aspect of their life, because you realize, we've just said, this is an uncertain world, and we face so many uncertainties in our different spheres of life. And given the fact that whatever you're facing is different from what I'm facing, it might be the same general thing, but the way we are approaching it is totally different, because it's also tagged on our past upbringing, or the environments we've been brought up in, how our mindsets have been shaped. So basically, we are going to process information, and we are going to process every other thing relating to this letting go, depending on how our mindsets are shaped and how we are at that point in life. You might find that maybe for you, you are very much self-aware, or very much far in your self-development journey, and maybe I'm just starting. It's going to take a different time period for both of us to let go of a certain thing, a specific thing that might be common to both of us, right? So I would say it's basically relative, depending on an individual, and there is no need to rush the process. Like, you just take your time and let's go the right way. Yes.
I totally agree, and I really love the aspect that you brought about the ripple effect that the not letting go can cause to your inside world, that is not really visible. It might be visible outside because of how you interact with people, but with time it will be visible at the end of the day. So that means that we need to focus, when we are talking about letting go, we need to focus on ourselves internally, and not the external world.
True.
It's not the external world to push us to start letting go, but it is us internally. I really love that aspect. Yeah.
That's really great. And I would just love to know, like, now, what are some of the practices that we can actually implement while we're trying to let go of these situations? Yes.
Yeah, I think first of all it has to begin with identifying what are you holding on to. So once you understand what you are holding on to, because we have talked about the different contexts. If you don't want to let go of the mindset that you have, it will be totally different from the other person who is trying to let go of their bad habits or toxic relationship, or it will be different. So first of all, understanding what is it that I actually want to let go. And once we have identified that thing that we want to let go, I'm always going back to the foundation. Once we have identified like that root thing that is making you stagnant, or not even want to grow in whatever that you want to grow in, then it will be easy to identify who exactly that I need to talk to, or who what areas of my life do I need to improve, and who what specific habits that I need to create in my life for me to be able to actually help, that will help me to let go. So once we have understood the root cause, then it will be easier to grow throughout the ladder. And I think sometimes we are holding on so long into ourselves wanting to be perfect, or waiting for the right time for us to actually let go, or waiting for us to meet the right people, or waiting for us to listen to a specific podcast for us to actually let go, but it's, and I think that is just like a barrier, so which is something that we need to try and keep on working on, the effect of perfectionism, because that is something that I realize it's a barrier to even me on certain things that I'm trying to work on. So I think one of the strategies could be trying to be kind with ourselves, and acknowledging that we are human. I am human as Eda, you are human as yourself, and just being kind to myself, that it doesn't have to be, there is no specific manual of me being able to let go, and just being open to hear what other people have done that has helped them actually let go. Because once we get to understand from, listen to other people who have already, who have already gone through that bridge and been able to get to the other bridge, then it will be easier for us to move from wherever that we are and conquer that bridge. So I think those are some specific strategies: listening to what people have done and what has worked for them. And also something that I have come to realize is therapy is very important. Therapy is very important, because this is somebody who is looking at you from a totally objective lens, because they don't know you. I would prefer going to a therapist that they don't know me, so they are very objective, and not trying to subject their opinions based on my interactions with them. So yeah, therapy is very important, and it really helps. And these are people who have the knowledge, they are experts in their specific areas. So therapy also works to just uncover these wounds, because there are some wounds that we really don't know that we actually have, because you might be going actually to a therapist for a problem, like maybe you want to let go of your childhood traumas, but they uncover something else that was actually, that is linked to that childhood trauma that you had not seen. So just getting to talk to experts in these specific fields is very important as well.
Wow, that's really well put. And I love the fact that you've also brought the aspect of incorporating also professional help sometimes. It really is very important as well. And then I would just also like to say, trying to change the old ways of doing things, the old habits. You said you can let go of habits, right? So trying to just know what, in relation to what you said about knowing why you need to let go and the likes and the likes. Now, just understanding what are the habits that took you to that place, or that caused whatever you were trying to let go,
Massive.
So when you identify those habits, you really try and change those habits. You change the old way of doing things. It reminds me, a week ago someone sent me uh, a quote or a proverb, and I think I forwarded it to you, where they said, a rat that wants to be a lion would where would lose its appetite for rats. And basically, this was so deep, because basically this just means, if you want to change something, you should devise new ways of doing things. You shouldn't be going to do things the normal way, the way you were still were doing. So in this case, it also applies. Once you've identified what really caused you or propelled you to where you went, you really need to understand how you can change those activities or those old ways of doing things, so as not to get into the same situation again. Yes.
That's massive. That's massive, because the other day I was trying to do something, and just this, from that specific day that you sent me, there was something that I needed to change. But looking at what I need to change for me to get to the other side, it was so big that I had to actually, like, take time to marinate the whole situation, because it's like you sent it to me at a very timely manner, at a very timely point, that I really needed that for me to actually make that decision. This is all to say that this act of now changing the normalcy and now moving to a different level, it is so difficult. Changing something that you're familiar with, changing your normal routine, that now getting to a different aspect where you now require a different you. Oh my god. It is so difficult, but it is worth it. It is super worth it either way, because once you have been able to go through the whole process of now changing changing this old habit to get to a new habit, it becomes very easy, and you realize that there is actually something that I was missing when I was still in the old habit, and if I could have still remained in the old habit, things would have been different. And it is not an outcome that I would want for myself. Which brings me to another point, that we have to, even in this process of letting go, especially letting go either people, when we are letting go of stuff, it might be a different thing, or like objects, but when we are letting go of people, maybe friends or people who are just not managing your boundaries properly, it's important to actually let go peacefully, because you never know where you will meet this person. We are social beings. You never know when you will meet this person. And I think it's very important to let go peacefully, since we are in an uncertain world. And the world being uncertain, things might change. Who you are today might be totally different later on, and I might need you. What do you think? What is your opinion on that?
I feel like it's very important. They normally say do not burn your bridges, and like just maintain the bridge, but keep moving, which is very true, because sometimes you never know how this life is. You might need this other person that you've maybe at that point burnt the bridge, and they might be the only people who are supposed to really help you. And given the fact that you now have to really start a conversation because you really left on bad terms, it's not a very good show, because at that point, first of all, it would feel kind of disrespectful to yourself, because you'll just feel some type of way. So I believe letting go peacefully is very important. However, it is not as easy as we might see, because you would find that maybe if these are maybe people that you are maybe so close to, and it gets to a point you guys cannot see things eye to eye again, it becomes a little bit hard for you guys to maintain that. But knowing that you guys are both peaceful and in okay terms, then it's a good way to really let go peacefully, because in the event of anything, you would know that you did not burn the bridge, you just gave distance and boundary, which is very necessary and important, but it didn't mean that you completely burnt the bridge. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would say that is very true. Yes.
Yeah, because I was also thinking there are some different ways of now not burning this bridge that we are talking about. And sometimes I feel like time also, some people might say it doesn't heal, but I feel like sometimes time heals, because you get to a point that, okay, when we were having this argument, we were both very high, and the argument needs to first of all cool down, and then we both can come to our senses and actually now decide to even if not both parties decide to let go easily, but I believe in, first of all, ensuring that my heart is at peace. So I believe even on those periods when it is super hard to actually live peacefully, it's better to give it some time. Give it some time with either your people or whoever. Give it some time, and then later on, if you see fit, you can now initiate that conversation again, but we will be having that conversation from a point of time has already moved on. We have already moved on. We have already moved on, and our hearts are a bit peaceful. And now we are sitting to have a conversation on the same topic. With an intensity that is lower than we could have talked about. And I always say that forgiveness is for me, it's not for the other person.
True, it is
so
for you.
If I decide to forgive you, it is for me to be peaceful with now letting you go as my friend, even if you are friends. It is for me. So if you as an individual you really don't want to come to this agreement with me, then that is upon you. But my heart is
at peace. That really makes sense. And I would just like to know, how do you normally feel after you've let go of something? Like, what is the feeling? Is it a feel of relief? Is it frustration? Like, what do you feel?
I think it's both, depending on the context. It's a old habit, and I've managed to move to the new habit. It's like, thank God, we did it. Also, if it is for people, it also depends. Was it a bad breakup, or what was the intensity of the level of coming to now letting go? How was the relationship? Because there are some people that you might just be having an argument and you decide to let go, but they are really good people that you actually didn't want to let go in the first place. But because of the circumstances, you just have to make those hard decisions and move on. So I think it depends. It depends with circumstances.
I would say that's very true. But I would also add and say there's also a sigh of relief, because most of the time you'd find, if you thinking of letting go of something, if it's a habit, if it's people around you, if it's a mindset, you're normally in a dilemma. And when you're in a dilemma, you're very frustrated and stressed, because your mind is really thinking like, is it this or this? Should I do this or this? But once you've made a decision and you've done it, you feel some sense of relief, especially when it comes to your mind, or you feel like if it was something that deep within you really wanted to do away with, you would feel a very big sense of relief and just peace and satisfaction that comes with it.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
And also, just something to add on is that prayer really helps.
True.
It really helps to just know, especially when you're in those dilemmas, whether to either do this or this.
Yeah.
Prayer really helps, because it's like you're talking to your father, and he's giving you a manuscript of exactly what you're supposed to do. Especially those dilemmas, you can be relying on your own knowledge, and actually that is not what you're supposed to be doing. So I think on those days when the dilemma is there, let's just use the power of prayer. Depending with how you guys do it, it depends with also different people. But yeah, I would say prayer for me really works a lot, and just being patient with the waiting season. The waiting season is also something that maybe we can talk about. But yeah, just being patient in that waiting season, waiting for God to answer you, and just to make that decision, so that we don't make wrong decisions. Let go of somebody who would actually be a really helpful for you 2 years down the line, but you actually let them go. So yeah, just utilizing prayer.
No, that is really well put, and a very nice way to end the show. I feel like this episode has really been heartfelt.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it in us.
Like it's just been deep. But anyway, I really like it, because these are conversations that we also need to have, because we can't just ignore that these things don't happen, right? Yeah, and thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget we are giving shout outs to all of us who are engaging with our content on different platforms, and just make sure you subscribe and share with a friend.
And until next time,
bye.